And now our feature presentation.
Welcome to the Grooming Next Door.
It's Thanksgiving Day and we're gathered round. Little children make a joyful sound. And there's no school and we get to play. And we're all thankful for this day. Except for the turkey. La 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 la. Except for the turkey.
You're listening to my mommy and daddy.
Gobble, 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 gobble.
Hi pups and kittens, and welcome to episode 53 of The Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host Chris Green. Sitting next to me as always is the lovely Sarah.
Hello.
Well, this episode I wish I could actually say I have great news for you. Unfortunately, we've had technical difficulties this week, and we were unable to actually bring you the big thing that I was looking forward to, which was a great interview with, his name is Bill Ziegler, PitBill. Ziegler is his nickname. He's with PITCREW RESCUE. Great interview. I'm going to let Sarah talk a little bit about it in just a moment. We will be talking about hate mail today, what's been going on behind the grooming door, and we're just going to kind of go about it. We also have Ain't Nobody Got Time for That moment, and as you can tell, it's louder than it can ever get, because we are recording right now at Studio MCD, and it's, of course, absolutely loud and annoying.
Well, not just that, there's a birthday going on, so I'm like, we sit down, we get set up, and also we see cupcakes coming in. Happy birthday to the little kid. Happy birthday to him.
Maybe we won't do this after all. Oh boy. This episode, folks, is almost I would say the example of this week probably is never going to happen kind of moment. If this episode goes lost, I won't be surprised. So if anybody's listening to this episode, I am actually amazed that we got it online. All right, well, let's start with, where do you want to start today?
Like we always do, our week.
All right, let's go with the week. Now, I can think of only one day that was a cluster. That was the... Oh boy. Alright, well, what stands out besides Thursday? What stands out for you?
Taking in extra dogs every day. We try to fit in so many people because of holiday season and such. So, me being the sucker that I am, someone calls last minute, I really need my dog groomed. We're already feeling the holiday pinch.
Yeah, that I was surprised.
We're over, at the point when this started happening and kicking in, we were over 3 weeks from Thanksgiving, and people were still in a panic to make sure that they need to get their dog groomed. So, every day, there's always one extra. Every day, one extra.
Well,
oh my gosh.
Before we actually go on any longer, I want you to actually say hi, Claire.
Hi.
And how you doing?
Good.
Poor thing, she has a cold. We've all been able to get it. You know, those lovely kid colds. All right, so, yeah, we have had a very busy week. And yes, every day, yes. Yay, and oh my gosh.
The one day that stood out probably the most, that
it will stand out forever.
And we'll never forget this one. Okay, to paint the scene, it was a quiet day at Shadowin. The only thing that was really popping that day was grooming. I mean, groom dog after groom dog after groom dog. And in the middle of the week, it's so quiet that, I mean, that's just how it is. During the week, people don't drop off their dogs. Well, Keith decides to go up to the house for lunch, and I told him, hey, look, I got the front. If someone comes in to buy dog food or to drop off, I got it handled.
And it's approximately 12:30 in the afternoon.
When he left, it was about 12.
12? Okay.
Yeah. So, I can tally up things. I know the last person didn't want to have anything to do with the front. They only wanted to do with grooming. Well, I like doing new things and having fun doing it. So I told Keith, don't worry, go take lunch. I'll handle the front and such and check in. I just don't know how to check dogs out from boarding itself. Nobody was being picked up that day, so okay, not a problem. And the dogs were fed, let out, everything's set. All I had to do is watch for retail. We have a bell on our front door so we can listen to people come in and out. Well, somehow, some way, he snuck in so quietly, I didn't even hear this person come in.
And I'll actually take over from there because it actually was a moment for me.
Wait.
Okay.
All of a sudden, I hear the door opening from the lobby to the bathing room, and then the noise of the dryer got louder.
Well, okay, I can see that.
And I'm thinking, okay, what in the world's going on? How in the world is Chris able to blow dry a dog and open the door at the same time? And so I get up, dog in hand. I go to look, and then I see.
Well, what had happened was, prior to the door opening, I'm working on a dog, I'm blow drying a dog. I have earphones in as always.
Because you have to.
Yeah, you want to protect
or
your ears.
Your ears are going to be shot just as bad as mine are.
And see, that's one thing. I'm very protective of my ears. You know, it's just something you got to be protective of. I learned that a long time ago from somebody. So I'm really protective of my ears. And
From who, honey?
My ex-girlfriend, who was a music major. Maybe some of my studio kind of mentality of doing this podcast comes from her. She taught me a lot. Not gonna lie, she taught me a lot when it comes to studio stuff. Of course, you want to rub that one in. Hi, Allison. Even though I know you don't listen, I don't understand why she doesn't listen. She's always on an airplane traveling the world. Anyways, I guess you'll probably listen to this episode since I mentioned her. Anyway, you know, one thing that I'll just revert to that she taught me because she used to go to college to study music, and there was a lot of studio different things, and she used to always say, you got to protect your ears if you're going to hear everything. Well,
And she's absolutely correct.
she was, and I, you know, for the rest of my whole life now, since then, I've always thought about it. So I guess in a sense, I learned something from her on that. So I'm sitting there, blow drying a dog. I have my earphones in, and all of a sudden the door opens to the bathing room, which is not uncommon. Usually Keith, Sarah, Craig, somebody will walk back there. No big deal.
Sometimes it's a customer trying to find somebody, even though it says employee only.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can sit up there for a minute before someone comes out, because we're always working. We're not sitting on our bums in front of the desk until someone comes in.
Right, and you know,
It's just not efficient.
when you think about it, there's dryers in the bathing room going, there's clippers going in the other room. I mean, there's always audible sounds going on throughout the day, and this will happen in any busy shop. So anyway, this guy walks in, and it completely startled me. But you know, you kind of get used to it. But I still was kind of caught off guard. And I take my earphones off, and he goes, here's my dogs. Now, I was caught off guard. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I'm a wisecracking type person, and I always have a smart aleck remark. Even at that moment, I was caught off guard. And here this guy just kind of throws these dogs at me and says, I got to go out to the car and get more. Now, I'm not a valet. I'm not your personal assistant. I'm not here to stop my job, nor would you stop your job if I went to your work and did the same. So it was a rude moment, which ticked me off.
Well, it's like...
I'm already working. Don't you see I'm working?
It is unsafe to handle two dogs at once that aren't in the same family. And even if they are in the same family, sometimes they don't like each other.
You also can have dog aggressive.
That's what it is. It's unsafe.
Well, yes. Then I was being more literal
So
with it.
when he just hands you the dog while you have a blow dryer in one hand, a wet dog in front of you, and then drops the leash on the second dog.
Yeah,
that
you
he
could have
brought
had a
in.
major problem right there. Major problem could
And
have
then
happened.
by the time I got up to go out from hearing it, he was already out the front door.
Yeah.
It was that quick.
Oh, yeah. And I was ticked off. I mean, normally I would have had some real foul language like, what the blank, blank, blank are you thinking? Because it's a stupid move. You don't make these type of moves. And let's be realistic, folks. I'm one of the rare men that are actually in this field. And I'm not what you'd call a beta. I'm an alpha type of man. So most of the time, okay, all the time, whatever comes to my brain comes out of my mouth. This time, I was so shocked. Like, how
Hence the reason why I handle the front of the house.
Well, yes. I do great with animals because they have knowledge. They're respectful, where humans are not. So anyways, I come out with one holding one dog and have a leash in my other hand, and I look out the door and here's Sarah, and she just kind of had this look of, why are you holding dogs? And so I then finally registered what was going on, and I had some choice words. And so I says, you better handle this guy because I'm going to tell him what I think. And, you know, anybody on any job would probably do the same thing. You put yourself in my spot, it's like throwing your dogs at me like I'm some personal assistant.
Well, for one, you don't know how that dog's going to react to you.
Right.
Okay, the owners might have full confidence that by handing a dog to you that their dog's not going to bite. Well, there are some dogs that protect their human.
Very true.
And by taking possession of the dog while in the arms of a human...
He didn't even hand it. He kind of threw it at me.
But it can be dangerous.
Yes.
You know, that's why a lot of times with Chihuahuas, Doxies...
Dash hound.
Dash hounds.
Dash hound.
Dash hounds. It's an inside joke there, dash hound. That's not how you say it. Dachshund.
Yeah.
That's how you say it. But anywho, I always ask them to hand the dog to me rump first.
Yeah, that was head first. Like, and it was throwing at me. That dog could have bit me, and I would have been off to the hospital, no doubt, as it would have been an attack. And honestly, I'm surprised it didn't. I really am surprised. So, all right. So I put the dogs in a kennel. They're, you know, all set and tucked away safely. Leashes, collars are all off. I'm just looking at Sarah and saying, you better handle this guy because that was stupid. You could have got me hurt. And I will lose a customer, no problem, if you're going to get me hurt. Because I'm hurt and I'm out for days or weeks or permanently. You cost me my livelihood. I have no problems telling you what I think of you. You can go to another place who is going to also tell you off. I know of one specific place that would have just blasted that person.
Most of my my grooming buddies would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I try to restrain myself though.
So when he comes in, the dogs are situated, safe and sound. We're safe. I'm sorry, that guy's shirt distracted me. This is coming out here and says, "Hello, my name is Awesome."
Oh. Well, hello, Awesome.
It's a McDonald's shirt that says, "My name is Awesome."
Interesting.
Sorry.
Anyways.
So once everything got squared away, everybody was safe and sound. I started talking to the gentleman that I've had over an hour of a conversation prior.
Sidebar, you were on the phone twice with this guy for over
an hour.
Yeah, well, 45 minutes one time, a half hour, 45 minutes the next time. Yeah, so you were grooming, so you had to stop grooming. So go on.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
then again, you always have to be mindful that people look at their dogs of more of an actual living, breathing child, that if anything happens to them, the whole world is just going to crash. So you got to be respectful and mindful of that. And that's what I try to do. Luckily, it's not all the time. We deal with people that want to spend an hour on the phone with you, making sure that you're okay, doing their own background check as they speak.
Right. You vet. There's a lot of vetting when it comes to looking for a groomer, and that's good. That's what we always talk about.
I understand it, and I am more obliged to do it. Not a problem. Well, he goes, okay, my doctor's appointment's at 2. I'll be back probably around 4 to pick him up. I looked at him. I said, sorry, sir. You'll be lucky if they're done by 6.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
and you
6 o'clock.
Okay, you didn't even know the condition yet, really, of these dogs.
The way he made it seem on the phone, and I guess this is my fault for assuming,
Right.
but the way he made it sound on the phone that his dogs, you know, were groomed a couple months ago, just need to be shaved. And he brings in his dogs, and I told him to. I'm like, look, sir, we are booked out to capacity on this day. So if I take your 3 Shih Tzu, or a Shih Tzu, no, that was a Lhasa, a Maltese, and a Boston Terrier mixed with some other wire-haired terrier, I won't be done until 6.
Well, let me paint another picture before we even go any further. The condition of these dogs were not an afternoon grade condition. You really need to have a lot of time for the safety of the dog alone, you need to have that time so you're not going to rush through it.
If you look on the album art of this week, you'll see one of the two highly matted dogs. They're both just as bad.
Equally as bad.
But the Lhasa was a lot bigger than the Maltese, so there's a lot more room to cover. Luckily, he was a good dog.
No, what the third dog was just matted too, though.
No, the third dog, we just trimmed up his eyes, and then when I tried to trim up his chin, he started snapping at me.
Okay. I thought he was a little matted too, because remember the chin hair was similar to mine. That's all I remember.
No, that was the Maltese.
Was it? Okay.
I left a handlebar.
I have lost where we were on that day.
So, we had to prep shave before we can do anything to these dogs. So, there Chris is with one of them, with the bigger one.
Okay, time out. I had to run home, get my brother-in-law, so that he can go pick up Claire. So I had to go get the extra car so he could actually get Claire. There was no way I could leave the shop. I had to rush home, get him to the car, and get back to the shop.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, Uncle Dave, you're going to be the babysitter today.
He's just like, what?
So, Chris has the bigger dog. I have the smaller one. The smaller one is a lot more intricate, so I felt better with you with the bigger one. And he was better. The little
He
one
was a biter at the end, though.
For you?
No, for you. I thought he was the biter.
No, the Boston Terrier wire hair mix
I thought it was the one
was
I
the
did.
one that tried to kill me.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Anywho, so
Recap.
I shaved down this white one that's going to be on the artwork for this week's. And I leave a goatee at the tip of their chin. And that's my handlebar. I hold on to it so I can able to move them left and right. And it's a real thick piece of hair, you know.
It doesn't
bunch
hurt
of
them
hair.
when you're moving them.
No, it's a lot easier versus touching their actual jaw. They might have a sensitive tooth.
They could have
might
TMJ. They could have a lot of things.
They could have some kind of disease in their gums that could hurt.
Yep.
So it's best to move underneath the chin and grab enough hair that you're not pushing on their throat.
Nor are you pulling hair.
Exactly. So they made a joke that I made the dog look like Chris because Chris has this long goatee.
It did look a little bit like me. If we would have dyed it black or brown, dark brown, it would have been perfect.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So I spent 45 minutes prep shaving the one.
I spent almost the same, maybe a little longer.
You spent the same, and then I took about 10 more minutes to get the face shaved off.
Yeah.
You know, or the hair
Well,
on the face
you finished the face while I started bathing.
Right. So, 45 minutes each. I know we're being a little conservative with that number, but 45 minutes each to
I think
get
it was
them
a little longer. I really think it was longer, but that's okay.
for the prep shave.
Right.
And then you went and bathed them.
Right.
And then I went to go and finish my other afternoon person that actually had an appointment.
Right. Now, hold on. Let me give everybody the time that it is at this point. It's approximately 3 o'clock, 3:15. I'd say about 3:15 in the afternoon at this point. So the dogs have been there almost 3 hours, or about 3 hours. They've been there.
And they already got prep shaved and washed, and
Right.
they're drying.
Right. So they're ready to be pulled out of the kennel at this point. So it's 3:15. One could get pulled out relatively within the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, so as
Only to get groomed now.
Yeah, so I finished up the actual last afternoon appointment one that we had scheduled because you cannot put those people behind because they did the right thing. They called ahead of time and
You
such.
left out the best part. He drops off another dog that's not even on the actual schedule and says, I don't want to leave my dog home alone.
It was a 9-week-old puppy
Yeah.
or a 10-week-old puppy.
I don't want to leave it home alone, so I thought I'd bring it. Now, I'm sorry, but I'm already not liking you, and you just decide that I'm going to assume that I can bring a dog in. Are you flippin' stupid?
Well, I was like, okay, not a problem. The biggest way to handle any kind of situation is just say okay.
Well, we had the room. It's not like we don't have the room for him.
So I take the puppy, I put him in a small kennel, or not small kennel, but a small.
That was pretty big for him.
Yeah, it was a good size for him. and he was a barker. I don't have a problem with barking. Barking doesn't bother me. If it bothers you and you're a groomer, there's something wrong.
Well, see, I never hear the barking because the earphones are on. You'll
But
hear a
he
faint amount, but nothing
was
major.
just obsessively
Yes.
barking, and it was loud, so loud. But so about, like you said, about 3:15, once the afternoons were done, and I was starting in on his dogs. I'm still looking about 6 o'clock out time.
Right.
He shows up. He just shows up.
Yeah, comes in, and his first remark to Craig was, "My dog's ready." Now, okay, I'm trying to be as nice here as possible, everybody, to paint this picture, but you brought in some of the worst dogs I have ever seen. I mean, some of the worst dogs in quality I've ever seen. Even down to when you actually did the prep shaving on them and you bathed them, they were filthy. I mean, absolutely. Like, they haven't had a bath in a year, filthy. And then you have all this extra work that had to happen. Literally, almost the time he was gone, he was going to a doctor's appointment, the entire time he was gone was to actually get these dogs ready for a bath and ready for a groom. It was ridiculous. Are my dogs ready? 3 dogs, and you think they're going to be ready with that kind of condition in a couple hours?
So I told him nope. I told him it'll probably be about 6 o'clock. So Craig, poor Craig.
Well, it kind of came back to bite him, though, because he was bragging about how great his day was, and he didn't deal with any problems.
He got a brand new chainsaw.
Yeah, he had a great day. Sorry you guys had a bad day, but my day was great. Well, that came back to bite you.
So she didn't.
I did.
So he had to relay the message to him. Look, your pup aren't ready yet. It won't be until 6. He goes, okay, well, I'm just going to sit right here in this chair. So he sits in our office chair that's supposed to be at the desk so we can do paperwork.
Yeah, it's
just
actually
plops
for
there.
an employee to sit in, not for a customer. We have a general store in there. We don't have a waiting room. It's not like a boutique. It's a store, grooming salon, kennel. Unbelievable.
Oh, and he just sat there, and I had to go back and forth away from him and around him so I could get to the bathing room.
Well, it was funny
my
how we
gosh.
handle it. I had a dog on my table. You had a dog on your table. We're working 2 dogs to try to get up on time to try to get this done.
So, I had to tell him, look, I need to go and talk to the boss about something. I'll be right back. So Chris puts his dog down and he comes outside with me. I needed a break.
No, actually, you got your break when you got done with your dog. When you got done with dog 1 out of the 3. You got done with dog 1. I was just about done with everything I could do with dog 2. I put dog 2 in the kennel while we go outside.
Yeah, so we went outside to take a bit of a breather. And we ended up coming back. And he's just sitting there staring at us, waiting for us to come back. It's like, come on, folks.
No job out there, no place, literally, any job out there would have, there's no career place out there that would actually not have that. Are you kidding me? Would you like me to come to your job and do that? I mean, nobody would have appreciated it. There is nobody at all. I could go to a church and sit and watch a priest and criticize things and critique everything, and even he would curse me out. It wouldn't happen. So I don't understand what this guy's mentality is.
Yeah, so I get done with the first dog and I send it out. Craig hands the dog out. He looks at the ears. I told him, yeah, all of them have ear infections. And this gentleman proceeds to tell Craig and lecture Craig the difference between ear infection and ear mites. Okay. He has all that black stuff. They're all mites. It's all mites.
Gosh.
I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And so Craig proceeds to walk in with the dog to actually clean out the ears. Now,
He knew not to talk to us about it.
Oh, yeah.
That we were on the verge of snapping.
Oh yeah. So Craig puts the dog down and starts cleaning the ears out, and we're like, and Sarah's like, I just did it, and Craig told her, and she's like, oh my gosh, this guy was, I hope I never see him again.
There was a foul odor coming from the ears.
Oh.
There's redness, and there was cracking of the skin as an ear infection. It's an ear infection. So I was like, whatever. Customer's right here. All right. It's better to say okay.
I don't know. I don't even know of a groomer out there that wouldn't have just kicked him out. Maybe even given him his half-done dog.
There's actual groomers in our town that have told customers not to come back.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
We have 3 of them.
Yeah. There's plural groomers.
There's
yes.
multiple people that have come through our shop saying that they have quit us.
Yep. Yeah, I will not, in exact words, I will not be doing your dog again. And it's like, really? Now, I can see with this guy, I never want to see this guy again. He's the first one I would ever have that reaction to.
So, once we finally got finished with all the dogs, it was 5:30 at night.
5:15, actually.
Was it 5:15?
5:15, all 3 dogs were out.
You were my saving grace. There was no way I was going to get done by 6. I shouldn't have taken these dogs in, but again, I'm a sucker.
I don't mind you taking the dogs in. I mind how low you charge this guy. We should have made $25 to $35 more on those dogs than what you did. And let's not end the story without the best. The dog that came in, the quote-unquote puppy.
Oh, for the daycare?
Yeah, the daycare puppy. Let me tell you what this guy says to Craig. After he pays, he says to Craig, "Hey, don't I get a free bath with him? Or aren't you gonna give him a bath?" Yeah, exactly. Aren't you gonna give him a bath? Craig's like, "No, this dog's not on the books." Well, you should get a bath. Are you effing kidding me?
Well, it's like the Boston.
Are you kidding?
This dog was the weirdest dog in the world. If I were to take this dog and shave it down bald, it will look exactly like a Boston Terrier. I mean, it got with something that had long hair, the mom, dad, and it has a Boston features. It's just a wire hair Boston Terrier, kind of like you have a wired hair Jack Russell. And he wanted a full haircut.
Yeah, he wanted. Oh yeah, for free.
I said, "Sir, I told you all I had time for was a tidy." Oh, okay. I said all I was gonna do was trim the feet and clean out the face.
Oh.
And he goes, "Well, I need more taken off the chin." I was like, "Okay, whatever. Okay, easiest way to do it. Okay."
I think that we had 5 hours. Well, minus the 2 he was gone, but I think we had about 3.5 hours of just garbage from this guy.
Yeah. So I go to trim the chin on the Boston Terrier, and it flips out. Absolutely flips out. Not only did he snap at me, he continuously snapped. His train of thought was not busted for at least 30-40 minutes or seconds. At least 30-40 seconds. He kept. I was trying to make sure it stayed on the table safely, and it was still trying to attack me. So I picked the dog up and I took him out and I said, "Sir, I'm sorry. I won't be able to trim the face on this dog." Kept snapping at me. So as he's barging through my grooming door,
yeah,
he says,
I'll come back.
He goes, I'll hold her. I'm like, "Sir, I can't have you hold her."
Well, and that's a good point because I wouldn't have tolerated his mouth at that point. You are not to be back here. This is for groomers only. No customers should be back here. There's a window to watch, but you are not to be here. And that's all grooming salons out there. I don't know of anybody that's going to have a couch sitting there so a customer can sit there. Worst idea ever if you do.
Yep. So I said, "No, sir, I'm sorry. I can't have you come back here. I can't do the face."
He was persistent about that.
It's one, a groomer's got to know their limitations. I was stressed out. My hands were already hurting.
I was stressed out.
You're already stressed out. And I was starting to my heart was starting to pump pretty fast. I was getting annoyed. And it takes a lot to get me there.
Yeah, you are a very easygoing person. I am not. You are easygoing.
And so when you take all those issues and you combine them into one with a biting dog, only bad things can happen. So
plus, let's be realistic, folks. A dog is going to be able to realize this stuff. They're going to start picking up on it. So you do not want that.
I didn't sign up to trim its face, only in between the eyes when he first came in. So I wasn't going to continue it.
I liked what you said to him about, okay. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to lead you here.
I'm getting there. I don't need any leading. I'm good. Anyway, So he continues and was even more persistent about getting the chin trimmed. I said, sir, he bites. Well, I'll hold him. Sir, I can't have you hold him. It's unsafe. Well, I'll hold his chin. Sir, how can I trim the chin if you're holding the chin? He goes, well, I'll just hold her. I said, sir, if I get bit, I am sending all 3 of your dogs home unfinished.
And we're going to charge you.
And he goes, what do you mean you have to send my dogs home? If I get hurt, if I am bleeding, I cannot finish my work. But why? If I
Again,
get hurt...
here's a person that you would love, you know, he wasn't young. So you couldn't actually go to his work because this guy doesn't work anymore. You would like to get in the DeLorean with Doc Brown, go back in time to wherever he worked, and pull the same stunt on him at his job when he worked. Because I guarantee half of the garbage that he gave us, he would never have tolerated. And I don't know of anybody who would have tolerated this guy. It was bad.
So finally...
We have a half-hour show right now just talking about one day.
So then, I explained to him, we won't be doing this again, that it was just way too much, and I did not expect your dogs to be this matted. He told me he got his dogs done and groomed in July. Okay,
No.
so I knew it was going to be matted.
July of 12.
Yes. I mean, these dogs have not been groomed for over a year. You'll see the picture, you can tell.
Yeah.
Dogs' hair grows about half an inch a year, or a month. A year. We wouldn't have a job if that was the case.
Jeez.
A half an inch a month. Roughly. Well, if you look at the hair and how many knots are pulling the hair even closer, and the hair was that long, I'm sorry. Do not lie to me and tell me it was just August.
Yeah.
It was July.
Yeah.
June. Do not lie to your groomer, folks.
We have talked about this over and over and over. It's like going to a doctor. It's like going to anybody who sees this stuff every day. If you lie, you're going to be... We see this stuff all the time. We know. It's like when a person comes in and says, my dog is so friendly. She loves everybody. The moment you get near that dog, it wants to kill you.
Don't lie to your groomer, folks, please. And so, you know, at the end, he was actually very nice. I told him, you know, I'm sorry it took so long. Even though it wasn't my fault, it's still good business to say sorry.
Well, yeah, you want to
And
be...
I went up there and told him, look, I'm sorry, but next time we're going to have to split up the appointments to 2 different appointments.
I think it's morning next time, if he ever shows again.
I don't know. The puppy has to come in. He goes, you know, you've done really good work. It was better than the other groomers I took him to in the town. So I appreciate your work. And I told him, you know, I appreciate you bringing them in, and, you know, thank you for choosing us.
Thank you, Flying Air Groomer Next Door. We know you have a lot of choices, and we appreciate your business.
We know now that there are some trials and tribulations to go through with these dogs, and
well, we already have some other things that we're going to work with. We'll have buffers in place to make sure when he does come in, they will be the buffer. Kind of give us that opportunity to not be stressed out, because you don't want a groomer stressed out, you don't want a hairstylist stressed out, you don't want anybody who's working on design stressed out.
Right. So the moral of the story
33 minutes later, there's a moral, folks.
Do not get pushy with your groomer. Even if you're running behind, do not get pushy, reschedule. If your dog has to be somewhere, or you have to be somewhere the same day the dog gets groomed, don't do it. Things can happen.
You should plan your day accordingly to how it's going to go. You know what time your pickup is. We give everybody a real good time frame.
But sometimes things happen.
Yes. But if we run behind, if there's a reason, there's always a call.
Well, yes, there's a call, but sometimes that call doesn't help.
True.
So if you have to go pick up your kid at a certain time, and so the same thing at the dog, and the dog groomer closes, well, you know what? You shouldn't have brought your dog in on that day.
Yeah. At least be honest. Don't just assume it and say, here it is, and I'm going to be back whenever I want. You got to be understandable.
Reschedule. It's more important to reschedule than getting mad at the groomer and the groomer get mad at you because you didn't tell him what you had planned.
Right.
Do not barge into any salon area. I mean, if someone's not out front and you're waiting there for a while, you can peek your head somewhere to get attention. You know.
You can knock on the window. There's a lot of ways.
Door, something.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways.
Do not just automatically give anybody your dog until you find out what's going on.
And this is not just for us, everybody. This is any groomer, anywhere, any country.
And the same thing, you don't take your dog to the veterinarian and drop him off, say he needs shots and leave.
Nope. They would
That's not how
actually,
it
they probably
goes.
would just send him home.
Oh, they wouldn't do anything.
Yeah,
They'll
they
say,
won't.
hey, excuse me, come here.
Yeah, this definitely does work. You're smart. I never thought about that. That does make sense.
And another thing is when the groomer says something, pay attention. If the groomer says, hey, look, today unfortunately it's super busy, I'm going to need him for an extended period of time, is that going to be okay? Yeah, sure. Or, hey, is there any way to get my dog out first and avoid a problem? That's one way of doing that. So, those are the moral of the story. And
this does, you make a very good point. This does go for vets. We know of a lot of vets out there, and vets are very temperamental. They will not. They will tolerate a lot less than a groomer.
It's not exactly the veterinarian. It's the tech staff or the receptionist. They do not allow people are so loud. Sorry.
Well,
but they don't
this is
allow...
This is a hard record. We did it because Clara's kind of been locked away all weekend and she was bored. So we did this episode for her. I don't think we'll be doing this again.
Oh, it's people not.
I miss
learning
my
to be-
kitty goat right now.
People not being very respectful.
Well, we find that to be quite often.
Yeah.
All right.
But anywho, vets won't tolerate it. So you gotta treat us along the same lines. Because even though the veterinarian takes care of the health of the pet, we also take the health of the pet. And we have issues when we get stressed out. Even though we try our hardest to not stress.
I don't remember ever being this stressed out. And I can't even think about even crazy people dealing with 5150s in a hospital that was this bad. I can't. This goes on my number one wall of fame, worst days I think I've ever seen of people.
I would say this is maybe number 4 or 5. I've had worse, but I've also been doing this a lot longer. So.
I've had people break cast off their arms, rip IVs out, projecting blood, threatening to stab a nurse, and he was still less crazy than what this guy was. No joke. No jokes, folks. And then I had to sit in a room for 5 hours with him. Trust me, that guy was less crazy than the one that we had on Thursday. All right, well, let's move on. We've covered a great deal of what goes on in the show, or in the grooming world. Hopefully, so you actually can take what we actually told you, the story, and kind of put it into your own personal lives not to do this. All right, well, I'd like to move on to the next topic, and that's hate mail. We always talk about the positives and the goods and all the things that people say about us and the accolades. With everything, there are going to be people that don't like you. Now, obviously, we've talked about some people who hate us just because we're doing something positive in the world. This was just a random person this weekend, went off on social media, decided, to start talking like I do all throughout the week, throughout the weekend, before we do a show, after we do a show. I have a lot of moments where I actually want to talk to everybody. I love to talk to people who listen to the show, people who have never listened to the show. I want to talk to you. I want to hear from pet lovers, pet owners, pet enthusiasts. So even shelters, nonprofit organizations, etc. I love to talk to all of you. So I posted a picture on Facebook, on different social sites, different clubs, and I wanted to know, have you heard the show? What do you think of the show? What's your opinion? What do you like? What do you don't like? Etc. Now, do you have anything you want to add on that?
Well, I know that we're not going to win the hearts of everybody.
Oh, no, we'll never.
And that is just how it's going to be. The more successful you become, the more haters that you'll get, more people who have nothing to do with their life but to post something that is completely irrelevant.
Or even
Now-
hateful.
Yeah. Now, to post something like, hey, can you guys try to stay on point a little bit better?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
confusing, or
April
speak
gave,
up, or
April
calm
gave
down.
the best. April was the one, and I know she's listening, so she'll know. I got to give her credit. At the early stages, she said to me, you need to actually write a little bit more description on the title. So what episode, and title it, what's going on. You know, I thought about that, and I was like, you're right. And that was early, like 20 episodes in, something like that. And that was creative criticism that I was like, great, I can use that.
Same thing with putting our stuff on YouTube. Someone
Yes.
suggested, hey, why don't you try YouTube as well, make it accessible
Well,
everywhere.
there was somebody in Canada who they were really influential, and they wanted us to do a YouTube channel. Perfect, I will go. I mean, it took weeks. It didn't take days or hours. It took weeks to actually do it. But you know what? It works. This stuff I appreciate. I appreciate hate mail. I don't entirely like it, but I appreciate it. But some of it, come on, folks.
It was just pointless to say it. There was no
Right.
point to say it because one that you told me
Well, I'm
about
gonna read
set
it.
me off.
I'm going to read the first one. Rachel posts on here, I have listened to your groomer podcast. They are of no interest to me. They do not provide useful grooming tips for the owners of draft dogs, which, if anybody doesn't know what a draft dog is, it's dog carting. I have no interest in your local rescues or your local dog events that you promote during the podcast. Now, okay, I'm sorry, Rachel. Let me be clear. I'm very sorry that you don't want to know about different nonprofit organizations. You don't want to know about different shelters that need to be published out there into the world of podcasts.
I'm sorry that us trying to help the homeless dogs don't please you. I'm sorry that our efforts that we take to help others in other states and countries don't please you. We are sorry. But again, like Chris said earlier, we are not in this to please people like you. We're in this to please people who actually care about dogs.
Right.
Not those who just care about their own dog that they have in their own house.
Right. Another complaint was your show does not identify with what the actual content is. The Groomer Next Door should be only about grooming. Now, let me jump on this one because this one got me just absolutely red in the face. Listen, when you look at a book, you look at a podcast, you look at a CD, even though there's no such thing, but album art to a CD, that's digital or whatever, however. When you look at a movie poster, it is identifying the character, and shut up, I'm on a podcast here, why are you so loud? Gosh. So ignorant. I'm in a mood today, folks, as you can tell. So
They're gonna sing it out here, by the way.
oh gosh. Well, we'll make sure we'll cut for that. So when you actually look at the title, The Groomer Next Door, it identifies the characters that are part of the show. We are the characters. You're the Groomer Next Door. I'm the up-and-coming Groomer Next Door. Together, we're the Groomer Next Door.
Well, see, it's like if you look at the movie Twilight, it's not an entire 2 hours of looking at Twilight.
I would like
No.
that. It would be better than what it already was.
It's like The Secret Window, the movie with Johnny Depp.
I like that
We're
movie.
not watching
A
an
window.
entire movie of a window that has secrets that we can't understand.
Right.
That's not how this works. Grooming
That's not
Next
how
Door.
any of this works. Okay, it wasn't a movie reference, folks, but it was a commercial. Haha. I just don't understand it. You know, being that we have a title does not identify all of the show. We are the Groomer Next Door. We are the Groomer Next Door. Not the show is only about grooming. Ugh.
So, and then what also chapped my head about that comment was that I don't know how clear I could be, how any more clear.
Oh no, that's the next one. That's not even this one. That's just the one that says your show does not articulate what you do.
I was getting ahead of myself.
You were.
The part is,
Well, I'll read the next
there
one.
is no way of talking grooming for 50-some episodes straight on exact grooming things when I can't show you pictures and I don't have video to show you on different things you can do.
Well, we will one day, we're going to do an actual video process. I'm going to do one on bathing a dog the proper way. There will be a YouTube video. When it will come out, I don't know, because I know we are watched and manipulated and discounted out to other people as their work, when in fact they've never done an effing thing of what we do. Yeah, I know. I said effing. There's a city in Illinois, Effingham. I'm keeping it as clean as I can, but you know, I get tired of the plagiarism. I get tired of the annoyances of, well, we don't do this, we don't do that. It's like, it's a free show, everybody. I could go out there, I can get a sponsor so you can hear, oh, and a message from our sponsor. Hey, kibble, kibble, kibble is great for your dog, even though I don't support it. We don't even do that. And yet, almost every podcast on the planet is doing it to actually make money doing this show. We're not. We're the ones that are spending money, not just $5, tens of 20s of 30s of dollars. You like that?
You're terrible.
It's like to run a show like this is about $45 a month, which may not seem like much, but let me have $45 from everybody, or $1 from everybody who listens, and then they're going to start to gripe. But it's not. This is a free show, everybody. I love to know what you want us to talk about. We'll do it. You don't want to hear about shelters? Sorry, we're not talking about Paris Hilton flashing you with her, her junk. I'm sorry, we're not talking about Justin Bieber hooking up with another girl in the south of France. Sorry, everybody. That's not what the show is about.
Well, without being as heated as you are.
Sorry.
We, on the podcast, it's very, we give the description of what we're talking about, and if it doesn't pertain to you, it doesn't pertain to you. That's fine.
You're not our demographic. You're not a pet lover. I don't care if you have a dog, you have a cat. If you're not a pet lover, you don't want to listen to the show.
That's all there is to it. If you don't have any interest of hearing dogs finding homes or upcoming events or trying to get inspired by something, then this isn't the show for you. And then keep your comments to yourself.
Yeah, if you don't want, I will love...
If you're not going to listen to our show, keep your comments to yourself.
Yeah, I don't mind hearing, hey, I listen to your show, but I'd like to hear more of this. I am so for that. But if you don't want to listen to the show, shut up. That's as simple as that. Keep it as simple as that. You don't want to listen? I don't want your opinion. You're not part of my demographic. You're not listening to the show. Why are you actually commenting?
Okay, let's go to the next one. Let's
Okay.
get through this because you're getting very, your face is turning red right now.
So, so the next one was talking about, well, they're just pet groomers, not show groomers. It was a longer situation from Nancy. She was talking to another one that was commenting on here. Well, they're not actually, because her complaint was, well, I would like to hear more about the one. Tiffany had said, well, I actually would like to know more about grooming tips. I want to hear a show all about grooming and about bathing my dog, because I bathe my dog at home and I do the work at home. I want to know about grooming tips. Well, we give you grooming tips, but we're not doing an entire show about grooming.
That's to me, I take that as positive criticism. Okay,
It is.
Not a problem. We can go into more detail about bathing. We have before.
I will do
it.
it. I will do it more of a Facebook message if you have an inquiry. I don't want to give too much out there, but I'll answer the questions that way or by email. Go on. Sorry.
But I would not have a problem with sitting down and actually, because learning and teaching how to bathe can be done just by vocals. You don't have to see it yourself.
Yeah.
You can do it. Oh, we can do a podcast on it. Okay, not a problem. Great. That's something you want to hear. We can do it. Not a problem. Thank you.
Yes. But what came from that was the part that kind of frustrated you, and that was the rebuttal to that was, well, and she tagged the person in it, well, they're only pet groomers, not show groomers.
See, and that chapped my hide, and this is why. I don't know how much more clear I can be in the past 50-some episodes,
52
prior episodes,
Yeah.
that I've said we are pet groomers. I do not do anything for show. There is one dog that you wash, and I do certain things to it to make him ready for show.
Yes.
And he has received points, and he's on his way to his grand champion.
Right.
Okay? So, therefore, I do dabble in it a little, but I do not consider myself anywhere near a show groomer.
And if you look at it, we do have a real prize-winning professional show groomer available to us at any time. And
Exactly.
you'd use her a lot.
Yes, Carla, who co-owns Shadowwood with her husband, she was, oh my gosh, she was amazing. She couldn't do large dogs anymore because of her rheumatoid arthritis. So she went from doing English setters down to standard doxies, long-haired doxie,
Dachshund.
and then miniature dachshunds. And now she does she works with miniature long-haired dachshunds. It's easier for her hands, and she can still do what she loves. So I had like an Irish setter in the other day, and I had her come down and show me why it wasn't looking right to me. Something wasn't looking quite right. She goes, well, for one, you need to relax a little bit because they're not supposed to be clippered and you're using a clipper. That's just how it has to happen. Here, try this. And so I did what she said, and it came together nicely. For being a pet groom, to look like a show quality grooming, I do my best.
And I had a clinic with her on the doxie. She gave me a clinic on doing one of her doxies for practice. And it was inspiring.
And again, they're not supposed to be clippered,
Yeah.
but when you're doing clippers and doing a breed cut on a specific breed, you can get it darn near close. You know, schnauzers, I use clippers on schnauzers and you're not supposed to. You know, so...
But here's the
we get
difference
close enough.
between going to a show groomer, which show groomers are not pet groomers anyway. If you go to a person who's a show groomer, they're going to charge you 2-3 times the amount of what a regular small dog would cost if it's a small dog.
Well, it
obviously.
depends, because sometimes when you get into carting, it takes a heck of a lot longer.
Yeah.
You know, what takes a couple swipes of a clipper will take hours for, hand plucking
Yep.
the hair.
Yep.
I'm not in that job. I do not want to be in that job, or I would have gone to a special academy for said breed.
And then you would have charged 2 to 3 times more.
Because for one, I had to pay back my
Yep.
tuition that I paid for.
Yep. And you're a specialist.
I'm a specialist, so you get charged the fee.
Yeah.
And then the quality of shampoo, we have high quality shampoo, so you had to pay for that shampooing.
And it probably would even be higher than that. So when you think about it, everybody, if you want a show groomer to groom your dog and you're just having a standard dog, let's just say you have a schnauzer and you want some kind of show groom on a schnauzer. Let me tell you, you're going to pay $150, $200 opposed to what normal. Depending on where you're at, you could. Look at how much grooming costs in Hawaii, Massachusetts, New York even. You're going to spend that in
Yeah.
bigger places.
So I've always said in the past 52 episodes, I am a pet groomer. I make sure that you get the quality groom your dog deserves,
Yeah.
because I believe your dog does deserve to look good. Not for you, not for your ego, but for the dog.
It always is going to be for the dog.
Yeah, the dog's going to be comfortable.
Yep.
I am going to put humanity before vanity. I am not going to demat the entire dog because you want it to have a skirt.
Right.
I will stay humane towards this. I give breed cuts all the time. Some of the best breed cuts I give is like a Bichon, a Westie. I've had numerous people come up to me and say, you're the only person in town that knows how to do a breed cut on a Bichon. And it's, thanks. Even though most Bichons don't have the hair like an actual show dog would. They're more flat, straight hair, and thin.
Right.
So, lady, if we're not show grooms, I guarantee your dog is not a show quality of dog.
Well, here's where I'm having a problem.
All because you might have papers saying they're AKC certified.
We have an AKC certified dog too.
Yeah, we got a Nikita.
Yep.
And?
Yeah, big. Wow, it has papers.
But
oh my gosh.
I know by just some of the subtle things about Katana that she is not eligible for the ring.
Even if she was, we would never put her in there. We would never subject her because we love our dog. We don't want to primp her and make her force. I love her the way she is.
Yeah, I like her goofiness. And,
I like her goofiness.
And when you take a dog into a ring, they have to be very
Serious.
nostalgic,
Yes.
very majestic.
Well, look back to when we were actually going to Purina Farms. Look at how the Akitas were. They were gorgeous, but they were mentality to be show.
Yeah,
I like our goofy dog.
Yeah, our dog's just a goof, so that's not subjecting her to something she doesn't want because going to show isn't horrible.
Oh
in a
no,
dog.
I love watching those dogs.
And the dogs tend to like it, but our dog is a goofball.
Yeah, I don't want to shed that goofiness off of her. Then she'd be serious, and then it's like, oh, I lose that goofy dog.
Yeah, when her tongue's hanging out the side of her mouth.
Yeah,
So
I like that. Look. Well, my problem I've had is you and I we both talk on different pages. I don't, and I know we have a couple of you who actually dog card dry mush. I know that we have a few of you that listen to our show. You guys, maybe you'll understand this. I don't know what the deal is, but when I talk on the two different pages that I'm part of, I don't know why I get more of the snooty, I'm better than show groomers, I'm better than everybody mentality. That's the part I'm having a problem with.
Well, see, I had an issue with Akita World.
Right.
They were absolutely snooty.
Yes.
Nose stuck up in the air, Akita snobs. And I'm sorry, I'm not a part of it. I don't care what you have to say. When you yourself are so vain that every photo you post of your dog, you have to be in it, there's something wrong there. Okay, fine. You know what? If that's the life you guys want to live, good for you. Whatever.
I like looking at pictures of dogs. I don't particularly want to see the owner. But, it is what it is. So, I don't know what there is about it. I'm not going to subject all people who are in dog carding to be just like the ones I'm coming in contact with.
There's got to be them out there that are super nice, super sweet, that love the fact that they're doing this, that and all love dogs. But there are some out there that are so snobby and think that their poo don't stink. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I do. I do. And that was it. I mean, I do appreciate the criticism, even though you can tell I'm not reacting too well with it. It is a little bit rough.
You put a lot of effort into this, and I don't know. I've always been able to handle retards.
I've never really been able to take criticism well. But I know I put myself out there by asking the question. Again, I don't want to hear somebody who doesn't want to listen to our show. I don't want to hear your opinion. You don't listen, don't talk.
Well,
I do get a lot of that.
Yeah, if I've said this before. If you had constructive criticism, that's great. But we're not doing the show because you think it doesn't pertain to you. We're not doing this because of you. We're not doing this for you. And we're not going to stop because you don't like it.
And I'll be honest, I do the show for me, for you. I enjoy talking with different shelters, learning different things. I become a fan of the show for a different perspective. Now, we'll translate into it. We'll segue into our next part, talking about Pit Crew Rescue in a second.
I would like to go to the...
Ain't nobody got time for that moment? All right, well, we'll do that one next. My thing is I love to hear from everybody. I'm always saying every episode, you have anything you want to say, email me at thegroomernextdoor@yahoo.com or find me on Facebook. You can't help but find Christopher Green. You can see the show art is right there. You have something you want to say, send me a message. I will read it. I will actually discuss it with you. I don't mind. But if you don't listen to this show, well, you know what? Honestly, if you're not listening to the show, you're not hearing this. But it's to all the people out there who they do nothing with their life. And they criticize people who are out there. You know, we don't sit in front of a microphone every week and talk about things and then turn off the mic and do nothing. We're involved in different things, unlike a lot of people. So, we're not show groomers, but don't be...
I'll tell you one thing, you get what you pay for when you come in to see us.
I think they get more than what they pay for.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was told many a times, I was told by an actual show groomer once at the show we went to, I showed her some of my portfolio, and she goes, you should be charging a heck of a lot more than what you're charging now.
A lot of her, she went off the record on all of her stuff. She said if people didn't show up in her shop, if they were no-shows, she would charge them the next time, and if they never came back, she would refuse people. And there are groomers out there that have a lot of rules.
Yeah, because she saw my schnauzer cuts, and she gave me some pointers on there. I'm like, okay, great. Well, she saw the Newfie that I did. She saw the Golden Retriever that I've done. A lot of hand scissoring issues that I've done. She saw it. And she goes, you should be charging a lot more than what you do.
Oh, yeah.
Especially as shiny as these coats are coming out. Definitely a lot more. I said, well, I also want people to get good grooming, that might not be able to afford as much as I should be grooming.
Plus, if you actually overcharge, the actual customer won't come back as quickly as possible. 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks.
If I was in a major metropolitan area like St. Louis or Springfield, yes, I'll be spending more. There's more people that can get to me and that can spend it. And then what I can do is turn around and do free grooms more.
I think you would still only upcharge between probably 25% at most, if even that. I think it'd be 10 to 25% more because of the larger city. It wouldn't be even an increase.
Well, my $35 Shih Tzus will definitely be $40.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, though. I mean, that's a little bit more than 10%. So yeah.
Anyway.
All right, well, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to Ain't Nobody Got Time for That Moment of the Week. This one comes from Delta Airlines.
Yeah, I would be flipping out right now.
And a lot of people ask me all the time, especially during the week we had this week, where do you come up with these stories? So sit back and enjoy this one.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Tonight, that man says he feels like he's getting the runaround and just wants the truth from Delta Airlines. In a story you'll see only on 10 News, reporter Courtney Robinson gets his side of the story and asks Delta how this could happen.
No clue how they could just lose a pet like that.
Frank Romano feels trapped, stuck in Tampa while his best friend is missing. He says Delta lost his dog as he boarded a flight from LAX last Friday.
They sound like they lost just a piece of baggage, that's it. His family, like my best friend.
He rescued Ty a year ago. Frank was homeless at the time.
He was just like a big anxiety pill. He would help me through the rough times.
So when it came to flying to Tampa for several weeks, Frank refused to leave his dog behind. He bought a $200 ticket for Ty and put him in a crate. According to Delta, Ty chewed through the crate and escaped.
Oh, man. It's aggravating.
Frank doesn't buy Delta's story.
I don't trust Delta.
He says Ty's microchipped and he won't stop searching for his dog.
Well, I just want him home safe. I just want him back. I just want to be reunited with Ty again.
Earlier this week, Delta told Romano that Ty had made it to Tampa. We spoke with baggage services and they say the dog was never here. Delta tells us they are still working with Romano. They are still searching for Ty at LAX. They've put up flyers. They say they regret that this happened while Ty was in their care. From Tampa International Airport, Courtney Robinson, 10 News.
Now, Courtney asked Delta how this could happen, and they wouldn't answer the question. Instead, they sent us tips on flying with your pets. We have those at our website, WTSP.com, under Seen on TV.
What a story.
That was horrible.
I mean, seriously, I love Delta Airlines with their comment, oh, he chewed through the crate. He must be like a shark. I couldn't believe that. I mean, seriously, though, I know people, sidetrack, I know I love to sidetrack. I knew somebody who was overseas, American. He shipped his dogs from Texas all the way to the Philippines. It wasn't a cheap, ticket, obviously. I can only imagine if his dogs didn't make it. And knowing this guy like I did, I mean, this guy, we're talking about a guy who was in many fights while in the Air Force. This guy actually, I could say this much. He was so animated when he was in the military that they actually locked him in a closet handcuffed for 8 hours because he wouldn't stop going off on people. So I can only imagine what this guy would have done if his dogs would have been lost like that.
See, the part that bothers me about this, okay, all right, the dog looked like to be either a bully mix or
a pit?
No, a bully mix or some kind of boxer mix.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay, so say it's in a plastic crate, because most of them have to be plastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, they have holes in it, drilled out, or not drilled out, but cut out, the slits and stuff.
Yeah, the fabricated ones.
Yeah, so they have air to breathe.
Right.
And it's made out of plastic. Yes, they can chew it. Sometimes the dog can get his little canine tooth out there and dig at it. Some dogs can chew through the plastic crate, but if you're going from Florida...
No, LAX. LA, Los Angeles International Airport to Florida.
Okay, and that's where it was... Okay.
It was landing in Florida. But left from LAX. Now...
Okay, that's a 6.5 hour flight?
That's about a 6 hour flight. It's longer coming from the East Coast to West Coast because you have the actual jet. Well, there's a winding, yeah.
So, in that 6.5 hours, you're telling me this dog chewed through the crate big enough to get its entire body out. I mean, it's a big dog.
Well, there's actually, I love the story. It conflicts. There's conflicting reports of what they're saying. They're saying that he chewed his way out in LAX and got loose there. Now, okay, a lot of you probably have never been to Los Angeles International Airport. It is a very big airport. It is, there's I think two different parts to LAX. There's, domestic flights and international flights, and there's different runways for that. Multiple runways, both sides. It's huge. There are police that are driving through. There is fire department that's there. There are pilots, moving planes around. There are baggage handlers. There are people all over the place. There is no way a dog is going to get loose and nobody's going to see it. Impossible. And on top of that, if the dog does get loose, you cannot get that dog, will not be able to get out onto the road. Even the road is busy. There are thousands of people at LAX. It is the biggest airport I have ever been to in my life. It is crazy. So, and then it's like, well, I would guesstimate he actually got lost, sent to another state. That would be my guess. But oh my gosh, what? I was shocked by this story.
What could have happened too is that they took him out to feed him or water him or something. They did something to make sure there was water in there and got loose in the bottom of the plane. Because it depends where he got loose.
The belly?
They won't say.
Yeah, they don't know. They straight up don't know. But they keep coming up with ways of what they think happened.
See, okay, if the dog chewed through the crate, you would see the chew marks in the hole.
Yeah, there would be a crate.
So, did they put a chewed up crate in the bottom of the belly?
They're not even showing
marked
a crate.
Live animal?
Yeah, they're not showing anything. I mean, in the report that I saw, there was no footage of the crate. There's no nothing. The guy himself, the owner of the dog, he doesn't have it. I mean, he doesn't show anything to the media. So the question today is, what happened? I don't have a conclusion, folks. It's just something for you to ponder.
It's horrible. Guys, for the love of goodness, read up on all the airline traveling for the dogs. Make sure you do everything to the T, because if something does happen, you covered your own butt.
I have a feeling he did. I just think this was just negligence. I mean, airlines lose your luggage all the time. Now they're losing dogs. That's just...
I mean, this is one... I haven't heard of another story like this before. So it's probably pretty rare for this to happen.
Yeah, I've never heard this.
But most people, they give their dog a sedative to get them going. You know, knock them out, basically. That is a hard thing to put an animal through. But sometimes it's necessity. It's easier to put them on a plane and less dramatic than it is to take them in a car for, 3 days.
Well, that would be even longer. That would be a 4-day drive, 5-day drive.
To get from coast to coast.
Yeah. Now, here's something that I don't think a lot of people know. I don't even know if you know this one. There is size regulations up to so many pounds and how big a dog can be to actually sit with the passenger on the plane. I'm sure all airlines have different weight sizes. I do know that some airlines, if the carrier could fit under the seat, the dog can ride on your seat. I don't know if I like the idea, but I do know, side story, I do know Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne a couple months ago were flying from LA to New York. This is a story I had heard. They have, oh gosh, I forget, little lap dogs. Both of them had him on their lap the entire flight. And the story was, when they got off the plane, they had pee on their clothes. So, Pomeranians, if I'm not mistaken, Pomeranians. So they had pee on their clothes. Now, I don't know, I heard it was they had it on their clothes. I'm pretty sure it was their handlers had it on their clothes.
Well, a little dog, itty bitty bladder.
You're right. So it does happen. Of course, if you're flying first class, you can do anything in first class. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to conclude this episode with something that I'm really sad about. It's a great effort by Sarah. I was so frustrated to find out our stupid device had to pull this yesterday. Sarah talked to you, and I'll let you have the mic in a second for this, because I want you to tell the story. I'm hoping we get him back on. I know it's entirely difficult to do this show and to interview, find time. I really appreciate it from this person. So, his name is, he's with PITCREW Rescue. Oh boy, I can't talk anymore. PITCREW Rescue. His name is Bill Ziegler. People know him over in New York as PitBill Ziegler. Great man. I was looking so forward to hearing this interview, and I know one day we're going to get this down. I want Sarah to do it because I want to be able to sit back and listen to a podcast. I don't listen to our show. I'm not vain. I don't want to hear me. I can barely stand listening to the little bit that I do when I edit. So I'm dying to hear this. Bill was so gracious to actually come onto our show. I know that he is suffering from illness. There's a great deal that he has to endure. He's one of the most interesting human beings out there. And I'm not saying it because I'm trying to kiss up. I'm actually a huge fan of this guy. I want to hear his story. I'm going to even send him a message that we are talking about him on this. Now, I want you to kind of give a little synopsis of what you heard and try to translate yesterday's interview. Yesterday, Sarah did a 45-minute interview. The device that we used, it didn't pick it up. It picked up Sarah, it didn't pick up Bill. There's just never a reason why this stuff happens. I mean, we've lost episodes before. When we recorded right here, we've lost episodes. Digital has a problem. We're not running a studio here. We don't have a big multi-million-dollar studio. We have quality, but we don't have, the safety net. So we don't have tape either. So without further ado, tell us what your interview was like. And again, I do hope we can get this. If Bill, if you are listening, if you have time this week and you're able to, sit down and do a revamp of the interview, let me know, let Sarah know. If you are able to do it this week, I will put this on as a special edition this week. I will publish it the moment it's recorded. I want to hear your story. He comes from New York, which for some reason, I'm a West Coast boy. I don't know why. I am in love with New York. I actually love New York more than most places, and I've never even been. So let us know. Tell us what your interview was like with Bill.
Well, he's, like you said, he's a real great guy, and a lot of passion runs through his veins. A lot of passion. And learned a whole lot of stuff from him. And I don't know what happened to the recorder. I had it in there, I had it in my ear. You had it set up before I actually got recording. And then when we tested it afterwards, thinking there's something wrong with our device, it worked just fine.
Yeah, it was one of those, boop, it worked perfect the second time.
I was so distraught. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to do anything.
I wasn't even going to do this podcast because I was so upset that it didn't work.
So, but once we can get him onto another podcast and whenever we can, he has a ton of knowledge, and whoever's in that area, I definitely suggest helping them out, whether it be through donations or help fostering. Just asking, hey, what do you guys need?
Well, if you want to send donations, there's a way of doing it. Please visit www.paypal.com. Send to PITCREWRESCUE @gmail.com. That's the Pit Crew Rescue. It's through PayPal. Please, if you anything you can send to him, I'm sure he'll be very grateful.
He's an actual nonprofit, so it's actually every dollar is accounted for. It's not some kind of fly-by-night rescue thing. He's been doing this for a while. He told me a great little story about Zeus that was awe-inspiring, and he knows his stuff. That's one reason why I really got behind him once you mentioned him to me. He knows that there is no such thing as a red-nosed pit, a blue-nosed pit. It doesn't matter on their color. And the pit bull isn't really an actual breed. It's a type. And he lists in his website all the different types that are considered pit bull.
If you are wondering,
in general.
if you want to look at his website, you can go to PitCrewRescue.com.
Right. And we will, the next time I have him on the show, we will go over this information again. Because you never know if the same person's going to listen twice, or if one person will listen to this one person will listen to the next one. We want to make sure we get that information out there. But what a great guy. He's going through a lot. He had a lot of things happen to him, and it's not fair, all the stuff that he has up against him. But he said he's taking it one day at a time.
From what I've read, and I've read a lot about this guy, I reach out to a lot of different NPOs, shelters, etc. that I want to hear from. This is the one person I want to hear his story. I actually want to be a fan. I want to actually listen to him. And again, that's why we do the show. We do it because we want to hear from these people. So it's like going back to that email. I want to hear from these people. And some shelters I really want to hear more about, or nonprofits. I want to hear Bill's story. I don't want to actually interview him. I want to hear him from a listener's perspective. I am that much of a fan. I don't want to be on that call. I just want to hear what he has to say. I want to hear his story, and I want to put it in Forever Time. And I know he's done a lot of different interviews all over. National Geographic, you said?
I think that's the one.
I know he's done a lot. I know he's done some radio interviews. I know of one that I'm going to listen to see how it sounds. I may publish it on our podcast, and I may not. I really want to get him personally to actually talk on the podcast, opposed to just put something he recorded for somebody else. I want to do him. I want him on here.
Yeah, that's the sucky part about this, is that all the information that he had, the questions I asked, it was just on point and fantastic. He even talked about the martial arts aspect of it. I'm not going to go into it because I want him to explain it. Every little bit of it, he knows his stuff. More people need to know this.
Well, yeah, and with the controversy of pit bulls all over the U.S., I wanted somebody of his caliber. There's a lot of people out there who can talk about it. I didn't think there was really anybody that was suitable that had the knowledge as much as he did. And this is a lot of research I do throughout the week of reading different sites, different MPOs and stuff like that. I felt like he had the most, and I was drawn to his page. I really, you know, again, I completely feel terrible about losing that. You know, I could play it, but it would be worthless. You would hear nothing really, and I just don't want to put garbage out there. So.
Well, he's got an important story to tell, and we want it to be loud and clear.
Yeah, you want to make sure it's out there. I mean, instead of just throwing whatever we've got, and you could barely hear them, even if you turned your radio all the way to the top, or your iPod, or whatever you're listening through, you would barely hear it, if even hear it. So I don't want to give you guys just little bits, but great guy. You know, it was disappointing for all of us. I know he's disappointed. I know Sarah's absolutely disappointed. I'm terribly disappointed. You know, again, just wanting to hear somebody's story as much as this guy. Literally, folks, if you're a pit bull fan, if that's your breed of choice, this guy has really all the knowledge out there.
And if you're not, if you are so scared to death of pit bulls and bully breeds, you really need to listen to this.
Yeah.
You really need to educate yourself, because they're not what you think. No. I saw a picture on Facebook. It says, humans, you know, hit me. Humans, you know, discipline me. Humans fight me. Humans train me to fight. And yet I'm the one that's always in trouble.
That's true. And if you look back,
the humans are the ones that do it to them, not themselves. Yes, they're powerful. Yes, they're strong.
Yeah.
But come on.
Well,
you know, when the bloodhound used to be the most aggressive dog in the world, turned out to be the most docile. Once that stigma was stomped out.
Right. And if you look back, listen to David Backus from the Blues when he talked about pit bulls. He had a great point. They may be strong dogs, but they're not bred to be. They're not supposed to be the way they are. They're raised this way. Any dog can be aggressive, folks. You know, look at if you look at these dog fighters, these jackals that go out there. They will beat the crud out of a Chihuahua, throw them in a ring to be a sparring partner for bigger dogs so that they can kind of get a chance of biting and attacking. Any dog can attack. It doesn't matter the breed. It doesn't matter what the dog is. Some dogs are stronger than others, so they're a little bit more dominant in a fight. Dogs should not be in fights to start with. It's just one of those things. So, you know, I love somebody who gets behind pit bulls like he does. I love somebody who's out there, you know, as strong as he is, and he is out there a lot. Just really, really frustrating for all of us to not be able to put this out there for everybody. And for me, I know you got to talk to him, so you got to, you know, enjoy that moment. I'm just dying to hear his story. You know, unfortunate side of losing an episode, losing something, just kind of what it is. So hopefully in time we'll be able to get him back, and you know, he's a busy man, got a lot going on, so hopefully we'll be able to actually get him back sometime soon. We also have other shelters and POs that are lined up ready to go, but you know, it's not that they're less important. I'm dying to hear this guy's story. Well, is there anything else you want to go with? All right.
No, I think I'm good.
All right, folks. Well, for the episode that I didn't think we were doing this week, and with all the noise and chaos and clutter around us,
and they all can't be winners now, can they?
Oh boy. Well,
movie line.
Well, I'm Chris Green. Have a PETastic day.
And I'm Sarah Green, making sure everybody realizes life is so short. Play with your pet.
See you later, folks. Oh, hold on. Say it again there, kid. Whoop.
And I'm Craig Green.
And you approve this message?
Yes.
Have a good week, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.